Things have been going missing at the hostel.
Play the theme music. Hello and welcome to this episode of Tripology. I'm Alun and I'm here with the ever irretrievable Adam.
I might be irretrievable. I'll tell you one thing I'm not, Alan.
What is it?
It's hot.
Isn't air conditioning a wonderful invention?
Yeah, the fact that we're in here in a little studio and we've got the AC on has meant that we're not complaining about the heat for once in an episode.
Finally, because we've become a heat complaining podcast. And the first person that took air and decided, I'm going to condition this. I'm going to make this slightly cooler, slightly more palatable for the average human being. I mean, I'm a big fan of their work. Pro rata.
I do think, though, as the listener may know, that it might have affected my voice somewhat.
You're sounding a little bit on the horse side.
I am. It hurts to talk, mate. It really does.
You're sounding equine.
Yeah, or sexy, some people say.
Yeah, you sound like a sort of zip, but a zip that I want to listen to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I'll do my best to talk. I thought it best to address. I'll try and sound as sexy as I can the entire episode.
Pep yourself up, sound sexy. I think the listeners will love it. One thing I'm feeling at the moment is sort of a bit mournful. I'm feeling a little bit down in the proverbial dumps, and I'm wondering if this is the right forum. Maybe you'd like to hear why.
Yeah, I would like to hear why, mate, because it breaks my heart when you're sad.
Yeah, does it?
Yeah, it really does.
Good. That's nice to hear. It's nice that you have such a high level of empathy.
I feel it. Yeah, go on. I'm all ears. Tell me.
What it is I'm sort of a minimalist character.
You are?
You know me.
Yeah, you don't have many possessions.
I'm a big advocate for carry-on travel.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the one bag.
Yeah.
I've not got many things in it.
No, your bag's got a name as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's called Lucky because when I purchased it, my dad, who was with me in the shop, wheeled it along and he went, "Come on, Lucky," making a joke that the bag was like a dog coming along with us in the cart. My grandma then saw it and she went, "Oh, Lucky, Lucky." She was a Polish lady.
You can't say that.
And so there you go. That's why the bag is called Lucky. And in Lucky, my carry-on bag, I fill it with very, very few things. I mean, this is the order of the list that it is in. It's my backpack, wash bag, fanny pack clothes, laptop, contact lenses, microphones. That is the whole list of things that I own. And that's not much.
No, and I think when you do travel with such few items, so little, each one of those is incredibly important.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a personal connection with all the things. And look, accidents happen when you travel, don't they?
Well, yeah, you've got to be accepting of that.
Sometimes things go wrong. And I've been traveling a long time. I have a little routine. You know, when I've had a shower, my towel goes on the side of my bed. I hang it up.
Nice to dry.
Wasn't there when I got back to the hostel.
You lost your towel?
I lost my towel.
You could sell that for a lot of money. I'm not surprised it went missing.
A little microfiber jobby. Gone.
Alan from Tripology's towel just hanging, waiting for someone to take it. I think I saw it on eBay, actually.
I thought, that's annoying. That's a very functional item. Annoying that's gone missing.
Yeah.
I tried to put it to the back of my mind.
Let's just take this moment to say the hostel we're staying in is fantastic, but the staff there are busy.
Yes.
They're always around doing stuff, moving stuff, cleaning stuff, picking stuff up, putting it in a different place. I've seen them do it with my own eyes.
Listen, a lot of stuff I put in around my bed. Like I have a little bit of tape that we use for multiple things. I put that to one side. It's always gone. I've got through 2 rolls of the stuff because they always just assume it's trash. Once me and you found it next to the bin.
Yeah.
So they throw stuff away. That said, come back to the hostel, towel's gone, a little bit upset, said, "Hey, look, my towel's gone missing. Can you find it?" That's fine. Yeah. The other day, I thought, I want to put on my grey long sleeve. It's gone. There is no grey long sleeve. Where is it? Now I'm getting a little bit upset.
Yeah.
Where is my stuff?
Because I even accosted the hostel staff. You weren't there at the time, but maybe it got lost in the laundry service, which is something that happens. The hostel does have its own laundry service, very, very cheap, very efficient. 24 hours later, all your stuff comes back. Half of it's gone, but at least it's clean. And I So I spoke to the staff and did say, look, Alan has had this shirt go missing. Can we contact the laundry service to see whether it's there? And I was really optimistic about it. Unfortunately, 1 or 2 phone calls later, they confirmed that it was not there. So where the fuck is it?
Well, look, we're 2 items down, but I'm 2 items up as well because you brought me a tripology t-shirt and I've got these new Root and Two in Red podcast hats. So I'm upset, but I don't mind it so much.
Okay.
Until...
Eye for an eye.
An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and the old damn world is blind and toothless until there's something that I hold very dear.
Mm-hmm.
It's been with me since very, very early on in my travel career.
Go on.
It's featured on the podcast.
It has, as a backdrop.
As a backdrop. You know what I'm talking about? It's that long grey, if you go back to the Meeting in Mumbai episode, a long grey towel in the background of the episode. The name of the towel is Pashanka. She's a lovely little towel. A Turkish testimony.
That you've personified and given a name.
I personified that towel to high heaven because she's been with me from the start, like Lucky, like my bag. The things that have been with me for a long time, I sentimentalize them, I romanticize them, not in that way, but I just, it's an object that's near and dear to me. It was given to me by someone who's a very, very close friend who I traveled around Africa with, and yeah, I just love that towel. It's been used in a litany of circumstances.
Yeah.
Once in South America, some dogs attacked me. I had Pashanka, whipped her into a tight kind of whip.
Yeah.
I whipped her into a whip.
For want of a better word.
And then I used the whip that I'd whipped to whip at the dogs and keep them at bay. It worked.
I can't believe dogs would attack you.
I know.
Tripology's resident animal lover.
I know. But sometimes misunderstandings happen. I've also used Pashanka when I got in that night bus late in Baños in Ecuador.
Oh, yeah.
Pashanka was there for me, acted as a pillow.
Lovely. So versatile.
Used her as a mosquito defender. On various occasions, she's taken a proverbial bullet for me in the mosquito front.
And apologies if you've already said this, but you also use Pashanka as a towel?
Sometimes.
Okay.
If I want something a bit more substantial, some substantial towelage, she'll operate. She's been a beach towel.
Yeah,
She's been a towel. She's been a dust mask. She's the metamorphic chrysalis of everything that can dry. She's amazing.
Yeah.
I highly recommend anyone who's traveling have a peshtamal. They're lightweight, they're big, they're fluffy, they're great.
Yeah. I've heard you do that before, actually.
Exactly.
Alan's top tip.
Yeah, often say, take a peshtamal. She's gone. Gone missing. Where is she? Where is she?
Not of her own accord.
No.
Do we remember the last place you had her?
I mean, I know.
Because I'll tell you why, mate, because that's the first thing that my mum would say.
Yeah.
Where did you last see it? If I knew that, Mum, I don't think that I would not have the item anymore.
But she was in my bed because a lot of the stuff I had stuff at the bottom of my bed, Adam.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't I know that she wasn't in my locker.
You are my best friend.
Yeah.
And I do think you're quite trusting in communal hostel situations because I'm not sure I would leave so many things, even though they are things that don't hold much value some of the time, like a pair of socks, like the aforementioned mouth tape.
At the bottom of the bed.
Yeah, and when a couple of things go missing, is there an argument to say, should you perhaps use the locker that you are using? You do have a locker.
But this is the thing, I've been in hostels for so long, I'm a bit spread out. Would you think I'm complacent?
I do think you're complacent, yeah. I think you're very trusting of people. I think that you maybe deem your bed as your quarters.
Yes,
and we've experienced firsthand. We've both been sitting on our beds, which are next to each other, and there'll be a cleaner that comes in and sprays disinfectant into our faces.
Yeah.
So they're quite, although they do a fantastic job,
they're diligent.
They're quite intrusive, and they definitely don't put things off if there are people there.
Okay, take your point.
Yeah,
I'll raise you. Why the hell can't I leave a towel drying on the side of my bed, some tape, some socks that I'd worn the night before, and like these are just things that I want to leave at the bottom of my bed.
Yeah,
my laptop, my bag, my valuables in the locker, absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's no reason on God's green earth why Pashanka couldn't have just lay on that bed while I was out for the day.
Yeah, no, you're totally right, because we're in the frame of mind. Our thought process is, if it's on my bed, surely a staff member would think they probably want to keep it.
I know what didn't happen was another traveller saw Pashanka and went, oh, that's a nice towel. I'll steal that.
You don't. So that we're writing now.
That definitely isn't what happened. What happened is one of those diligent staff members took off my bed sheets and Pashanka was within them.
Yeah.
And then they would have done the laundry with them in. But I wouldn't mind all this. But the goddamn shrugging when I'm like, hey, look, I've lost this stuff. It's really important to me. Just, it's gone.
Yeah.
And this is, I have very few possessions. Like I said, there's only a few things I have. There's only even fewer things that I care about.
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate of minimalist travel, but it is gut-wrenching when something goes missing, man.
Because it's got so much meaning. It holds so much meaning. It's incredibly comforting. It's been with you through thick and thin. And it's also very functional. Like, it's a great item to have with you. And do you think there's something to be said about the fact there's no closure here? When you lose a credit card, I mean, in the south of England, right, a few years ago, I found someone's credit card on the beach and I went to the bank and returned the credit card. And I said to the teller, please, God Almighty, can you just contact the person, and told them that I found it, where I found it, on the day that I found it, just so they know what happened.
So they're not left wondering, what was this experience?
Yeah,
where did it come from?
I'm sure they cancelled their card. I'm sure they did. But if you knew what happened to Pashanks, even if you were never going to get her back, would that make you feel any better?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
If I received a postcard from her in a few years' time, it was like, I've done all the things that you said you were going to do. We've been to Antarctica. I've got a new travel friend now. And look, I miss you, but I'm having fun.
Yeah, sure.
That would be closure to me. I think I've over-sentimentalized an inanimate object. For me, even saying that Pashanka's an inanimate object feels a little bit like...
Because but you can tell how much she means to you, and that's wonderful.
Well, I want to poll other travelers because I would love to hear from you. Tripologypodcast@gmail.com. Do you empathize with my sentimentalization, my personification of this item? Because I've done it with my bag. I consider my bag like a friend, that sits next to me on the bus sometimes because it's been with me for such a long time in such remote locations.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a sign of mental illness? Is it an over personification? Is it ridiculous? Or is it understandable in an environment where you're meeting new people constantly and the only real constants in your life are these few items that have been with you a long time? I want to hear if there's anyone else who's like named their bag, named their favorite washcloth. I want to know. I want to hear from you.
Yeah, and also when it comes to using the same bag over and over again, you know it inside out. You might even subconsciously or consciously have your own routine in terms of checking pockets or keeping certain things in certain places. And maybe there's an element of superstition to that as well, because I carry with me at all times in my bag, but not on my person, I carry a little pendant that was bought for me by my nan, my dear nan, a Saint Christopher.
Okay, have you named it?
Yeah.
Is it called Chris?
Chris, yeah, Chrissy for sure.
Yeah.
And I keep that with me all the time. So the patron saint of travel, I believe. And the pendant is on a chain that was bought for me by my other grandmother. So I feel like I've got both of them with me, and every single time before I go traveling again, when I go off on my long stints wherever I'm going, my grandma always says to me, just remember, when you look up at the moon, I'm looking at the same moon.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's
so
beautiful.
I'm never that far away from you. And I do feel like even if that left my bag, so just for a bit of context, I'm looking at said bag right now as we're recording.
Right.
I would somehow know through sort of energy or some sort of loss whether it was in there or not.
Is it in there right now?
It's definitely in there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and look, that's beautiful. And I actually encourage people to have something of the people they love.
Yeah.
I have a necklace I'm wearing right now that my mum bought for me. It brings me comfort. I like that I have it.
Yeah.
That's totally reasonable, understandable. I would recommend something like that. I'm just interested whether people maybe... It's just something that's been with them a long time, because it is a level of over-sentimentalization, which I think can only serve to be upsetting when that thing ultimately goes missing.
Yeah, I'm sure it's been exacerbated by the fact that you only have a few items.
Yeah, well, that's it. And I'm a huge advocate for minimalist travel. I do think it's the only way to travel. So many people have so much stuff. They wouldn't even notice if a Turkish bath towel left their bag because they've got 3.
And because this is a backpacking podcast, a travel podcast, where predominantly you would imagine a lot of our listeners either have experience of or currently do live in hostels. I want to bring up this lady that's currently staying there.
Oh my God. I know exactly who you mean. Goodness me.
She is traveling with 3 3 full-size suitcases. And I don't know whether this is unethical, mate, but you'll have to tell me. I wanted to take a photo of her sorting out her clothes yesterday and post it on our story, just because it is mental.
It's crazy.
The amount of stuff that she has. And our hostel dorm, even though it's got 16 beds in it, it's quite tight in there, isn't it? There's not a lot of room to move, really. Yeah. And the entire corridor, the walkway, is just covered in her clothes, her shoes, things splayed out. She's organising stuff. It feels like every single day. I walked in there the other day and she had tidied everything away. I thought, fucking hell, I don't recognise the place.
Yeah, she'll try and find something and it'll never be at the bottom of suitcase B. And then she'll be like, oh, God. And then the whole thing has to come out. Oh, no, it's actually in suitcase C. And then suitcase C's open, like a duffel bag sprawled all over the gap. It's nuts. Isn't it? She's very sweet, but I mean, it's no way to travel, is it?
No, I don't know if she's on a business trip. Perhaps she's moving house. Who knows? Maybe she's moved from elsewhere in India to Mumbai. But did you think that it may be worth approaching her and saying, hey, look, you've got an enormous amount of stuff. There is a high chance that what I was missing may be in one of your suitcases.
You wouldn't even know. If Pashanka and the other towel and my grey long sleeve had all worked their way into her bag, she'd be completely oblivious because she's carrying over 300 kilograms of luggage anyway. So, I mean, it feels slightly heavier. I think I've accumulated someone else's items. You'd never know. I mean, this is how I know carry-on travel is the only true way forward, because the idea of her luggage is stressing me out now. Yeah. And I'm going to have to go on a brief meditation break just to calm down. Shall we go on one now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's meditate. And like a harpoon through the belly of an undeserving sea mammal, let our conscious minds return into our brain box. I'm thinking about things. I'm thinking about, the items that have been misplaced at the hostel. Perhaps they've been lost. Perhaps they've been stolen. And speaking of things that have been stolen, would it be unfortunate if not an item of clothing, not a towel, not something sentimental had been lost, but something more practical, like a phone, like an object, like a laptop, like a microphone, but specifically a phone? It would be terrible if one of those got lost, wouldn't it?
Unless it was stolen, in fact, by your best mate you run a podcast with.
That would be an intriguing set of circumstances indeed. Let's elucidate, let's illuminate, let's describe to the listener exactly what we're talking about.
Last week, was it even 7 days ago?
No.
We came up with this idea for an Instagram reel that we thought had the potential to do really well on the internet.
We're always about trying to bring tripology to the masses, and we can't do that just through the best travel podcast on the internet. Sometimes we have to use other methodologies, other methods. And Adam was filming a train go past in Mumbai, and someone came up to him and went, "Whoa there, don't film the trains. Someone might snatch a phone out of your hand."
Yeah, and they're not wrong, are they? Because I was gripping my phone so tightly when I was standing on that platform. And the idea behind the reel, just that specific reel, was I was kind of poking fun, having a little jab at content creators in general. I'm not going to name any names, but that is the sort of thing that content creators might do, put their phone and their safety at risk for the sake of an average piece of content, which is a train going past, albeit with a few people hanging out the side. I get it. Aesthetically, it's quite impressive. It's good to watch, but really weigh up the risk to reward ratio. I feel like there's quite a high chance you might lose your phone.
So I thought, let's jam it up. Let's actually make sure you lose your phone, because I'll be in a train going past, and at the point that the train goes right past you, I'll reach out the door and grab your phone out of your hand.
It was foolproof, wasn't it? It was quite hard logistically to come up with an idea, because we were standing at one station. We thought, okay, if you're standing at one station, then I can come past on a train. But you had to go right down the back of the platform. I had to go to the middle, because my goodness, did we realise after the first take that the train, shortly after departing the station, goes so quickly that it would be so unsafe to reach out and try and grab anything.
It really picks up a lot of speed quickly. But I mean, long story short, with a little bit of editing and magic and movie acumen, we filmed this whole thing where I grabbed the phone out of Adam's hand. We posted it on Instagram. I mean, it's gone gangbusters on there. I think right now, as we speak, and hopefully still when this episode comes out, it's like 350,000 views. There's controversy in the comments. People are like, what? two white guys in Mumbai robbing from each other. This is crazy. It's all going mad. I'd love you guys who are listening to this episode, get on that video on our Instagram of me grabbing the phone and like leave a comment, leave a hashtag free Pashanka, spell it however you want, just so we know that you came from the pod. It's been really cool to see. One thing though, I mean, I was the person on that train grabbing that phone. Mate, you weren't here, obviously, because you were on the platform having your phone whisked off.
Yeah.
It was.
I mean, I was getting some looks. I was getting the looks you sort of would expect from people that are thinking, who is this idiot standing right next to a moving train with his phone hanging out? Which, I mean, this is exactly what I was poking fun at. And I could see you, because I was on selfie mode, of course, with me in the corner trying to smile. I know what's coming. See you poke your head out the thing. And I'm thinking, here we go.
Yeah, I was ready. I was braced. But obviously, to the people on the train, they've just watched me get on the train, pick up some speed, and then reach out and grab a phone out of another foreigner's hand.
Yeah, it's obviously disturbing for people that aren't clued up or didn't know what we were doing and the fact it was staged or the fact that we were best mates. Of course, naturally, you would think, oh my God, what's this person just tried to do?
I had some explaining to do, mate. The guy next to me hit me in the shoulder and I went,
really?
Yeah. He went, oh, what are you doing? Why did you do that? And I went, oh, he's my friend. We have a podcast together.
Even more reason, why did you try to steal his phone?
Failing to realise that he's my friend doesn't explain why I grabbed the phone out of your hand going, many kilometers an hour. So I had some explaining to do. There was like a weird atmosphere on the train, a weird buzz of like, what the hell just happened?
You've been accosted by a load of locals trying to stick up for me.
And luckily, I also had a friend on the train with me who speaks Hindi who was like, oh, it's calm down, it's all above board, no worries. And then everyone kind of realized. I really made sure to lean out and get a thumbs up and a smile from you so people could see that we were interacting post the grabbage.
Yeah.
So it was good. I'm really happy with how that reel went. It's like brought Tripology to a new audience, people who are interested in train robbery. And
yeah, it's amazing to witness something hit 350,000 views, and some of the comments unfortunately are negative, but I think you just have to, it's par for the course really, isn't it? I mean,
I think people have taken it the wrong way. Obviously it's got thousands of likes. The vast majority of people understand that it's a little prank and it's fun and it's
and it really is well edited together. I mean, let's be open and honest, the actual video is you smacking my phone out of my hand, and it did go flying. It was airborne for quite a while and it's spinning through the air. You can see that on the video. And then I, of course, go out all embarrassed, tail between my legs. I pick up the phone and everyone around me is going, not really knowing how to react, because maybe they thought on the platform someone has tried to steal his phone and they haven't been able to.
Yeah.
And he's got it back and it's a win.
Yeah. But the commentary of the video is that people will do anything for content.
Yeah.
And actually, Mumbai is this really cool place that we both live. And the irony of it is that the only danger to Adam was his best friend on the train grabbing his phone. Like, that's the kind of commentary we're making. But of course, there are some comments of people like, you're painting India in a bad light, get out of the country.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of them kind of get the joke, and it's positive. So I think it's cool. I'd like to make more stuff like that. I would like to co-opt kind of the places and the spaces that we're in and make funny, shocking kind of videos. I'm also interested in street interviews that we're doing, talking to people. So just follow along with the social media at Tripology Podcast on Instagram, and we have a youtube.com/Tripology Podcast.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool things to follow along. I'll tell you what,
go on,
I'm getting a bit hungry.
Oh, you're telling me. I haven't eaten anything all day, Alan.
You know what time it is?
It's time for rice for breakfast.
Play the theme music.
Rice for breakfast? You can't have rice for breakfast.
I like that theme music. It's good.
It's very good. You do such a good job on the theme music.
Thank you. I composed them all
the theme music, I
the
said.
theme music, and I composed them all on a grand piano, and then I just sack that off and use AI.
Well, it's my actual voice in the theme music, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not this voice. This voice is, of course, much more sexy.
Yeah, because you've got that hoarse throat, because you've been eating too much
street food.
Let's talk about it.
So, what I want to bring to the table, mate, is something that we've been having almost on a daily basis. It is a staple of Mumbai. It's the Vada Pav.
Oh, the fuel of a nation, the Vada Pav.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so,
tell them about it.
What it is, and I'm going to have to draw on all of my wine experience to describe this, because it's essentially a fried potato fritter or dumpling in a bun.
Just a white bread bun.
Yeah, and we have these, don't we? We have a chip butty. Some of our UK listeners might be familiar with a chip butty, which is, you call it a chip butty up north, actually, don't you? Basically, chips or fries in a sandwich.
I'm the voice of the North on Tripology. And not lived there for a decade.
No, anywhere north of Watford, they call it a butty. I've been told. I've never been up there. I wouldn't dare.
You get robbed immediately.
Yeah, phone be nicked straight away. But it is kind of like Bombay Aloo, like a spiced potato mix. Encased in batter, fried, and then in a bun, which is sometimes a little bit glazed. I wouldn't say it's brioche, but there's a little bit of sweetness sometimes.
Right.
Lovely spice. And then it comes with a couple of chutneys, usually a green chutney, which we've been having loads of, and also what is a sweeter red chutney, I think. Maybe a little bit of tamarind in there, not sure. I've spoken to a couple of locals. And then you get these whacking green chilies that have been caked in salt. It's just a taste sensation, isn't it?
It is quintessentially like a staple food here that you wouldn't think of as Indian food if you'd not been here. It's like a daily eating sensation that people love, but it's like, it is potato in a bun.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think of it as what you'd have in Mumbai, but it's like nice. I like it.
The bun itself is called a pau, which is derived from the Portuguese word
Pau
for bread. And yeah, it's funny, the old pronunciation that we've been kind of poking fun at, because I think pau is written pav in English
with a V. Yeah,
P-A-V if you use the English alphabet, but local Indians seem to say pau because sometimes they pronounce the V like a W.
Can't help but notice a lot of words that start with a V end up being pronounced with a W.
like a wibe, like really good wibes,
yeah,
which we like a lot. But
I've been told that I'm wibing with someone all too frequently. Are we wibing right now?
Are we husband and wife? but back to the dish. Really accessible, isn't it?
Yeah, very. I mean, you'd scarcely go 100 meters without coming across a Vada Pav stand.
How much are you paying usually for a Vada Pav?
I like to pay about 20 rupees myself.
20 rupees. I've had them as low as 50.
You've not?
Yeah.
15 rupees?
Yeah.
For a Vada Pav.
And you know, this is something that I would put in the same category as maybe chai, in that for the joy that it brings me to have a little cup of chai by the side of the road with other people for 10, 15 rupees, whatever it is so disproportionate to the amount of money it costs. And the same thing with the Vada Pav, right? It's spiced potato fritter or dumpling in bread with chutney, and it costs, the equivalent of 15, 20p. And it's so tasty, so Moorish.
It's quick grab and go food. And let me tell you, when I first arrived in India, I'm someone who likes to saunter into a cafe, spend 20 minutes sipping a coffee and watching the world go by.
Yeah.
And it was something of like, I'm not sure how I feel about this, that people just go grab a chai, drink it standing up, grab some pani puri, eat it standing up, Vada Pav, same, you're standing up. But I'm coming round to the idea. I quite like it. Quite like the social aspect of just standing next to it, sipping the chai, and then off you pop with your day.
Because people are busy here, aren't they? It's a fast-moving, energetic city, and people just haven't got the time, mate. I think that's maybe where it stems from. Lots of the food that we're eating on the street can be eaten standing up. Pani puri, just mentioned. You had a good one recently, did you?
I had the best pani puri of my life yesterday.
That breaks my heart because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Is it worth...
That was why... No, I'm just joking. I would have loved to have been there.
One thing I don't like about street food is that you're normally there with me.
But pani puri is like, how do you describe it? Sort of like an orb of kind of crispy flour crackery material.
Yeah, it's like a little crispy shell.
That's the puri. And then they poke a hole in it with a thumb and then fill it up with pani water, spicy water with, chickpeas and a little bit of chutney. And then you eat it like a bomb in your mouth and it's an explosion. You crack into it. It's a taste sensation. And
they are very fun to eat. Lovely textures. You can normally have about 6 or 7 and then a little sweet one, or sometimes one with some black salt, which can often taste a bit like salted egg yolk, I think.
Yeah, I like it, man. And I like the fact that you get a plate, you stand there, it's refilled, you bomb. You refilled, you bomb. I think it's like a pleasant experience. No one can talk because you're eating constantly, but everyone's like, it's the best I've ever had.
It's also fun to watch the person making it.
Yeah.
I think it's like food porn. It's like It'd be what? It'd be a really good YouTube video, I think.
Adam, it's
Adam, you're supposed to poke the hole with your thumb.
it's quite DIY, isn't it? You get the puri, you crack it open, you pour it in. It's an immensely enjoyable construction process.
Yeah, and I mean, I've never been full off them.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe the reason why you could have, say, 5, 6, 7, 10, who knows?
They normally come in sets of 6. Like the waves on the shores of Goa, your pani puris come in sets of 6. Remember that, Tripology audience. Remember it, because there's one time, you never know when Adam comes and knocking with a tripping point and he asks you those sorts of questions.
Do you know the spiciest food I've had since being in India actually is a pani puri.
Is it?
Yeah, that we had together. Do you remember it really tickled my throat and made me cough?
Oh, yeah.
That's maybe the hottest thing that we've had, or that I've had anyway.
Well, we should talk in the future about the terrible delineation between English Indian spice versus Indian spice. Because I think English Indian food, it takes on a strange form that's not quite true to the Indian food I've had here.
And I also sense that with English curry houses or British curry in general, and maybe it's a cultural thing, there is this kind of macho ego type thing going on where people want to eat the spiciest food they possibly can.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that exists here. I think it might just be the spice level is a certain level for this dish in particular, and that's how hot it is. It's not. That's how hot it comes.
I felt like when I was at that university and stuff and go out for a curry, sometimes it was just like, let's make this hot at the expense of anything else to do with the dish. Let's just make sure it's hot.
Yeah.
Well, testosterone game, isn't it?
Well, it's also very different. I've had this conversation actually with quite a few people over the last couple of months. And in North America, where we both used to live, the spice level in curry houses, you can choose usually between 1 to 5, 5 being the hottest.
Right.
Even there's one restaurant where I used to live that had 6 and 7. Number 7 was London hot.
Oh, interesting. We're starting to figure it out.
Yeah. Whereas in the UK, each curry will have like a different level of spice, and you just have to know that a fal is more hot than a vindaloo, and a vindaloo is more hot than a madras, and a korma and a tikka masala are usually for children.
It's weird because madras is just a region.
Yeah.
It's odd that that's the way it's done.
We're just a couple of spicy white guys, Alan, trying to find some hot food, not for our own ego, but because we like it.
And speaking of spicy white guys, it's time to head to the Patreon section of the episode. Patreon.com/tripologypodcast gives you access to an unseen realm. The Lost and Found section takes place after the theme music ceases. I'm going to go there right now. I hope you'll join me.
I'll see you there. Bye.
Free Pashang!